I think there is a fine line between revenge and reciprocation. One is positive and one is negative. Now, I can tell you, there's a good way to use both. There's a way that you can use both to benefit you. I'm going to give you one scenario. Some of you can relate. This goes back to relationships because this is a common one. Let's say you were involved in a relationship with someone and you did the best you could as a person to try to be good to them and everything else, but they just weren't in that high headspace to receive you. I'm not saying that they're a bad person. That maybe they just weren't ready for what you had to offer. You both were on two totally different emotional levels. You wanted a little bit more of what they're giving you. And instead of them coming out to you and just being straight about it or just ending, the communication or reducing the communication, they go ahead and just lead you to believe that everything is cool. And they don't put the brakes on anything. They don't slow things down. They just give you the impression that everything is cool. And let's say that, it comes to a head at some point. The light bulb goes off and then you realize, okay, you know what, things aren't cool right now. And over time, you just decided, you know what, let's just go ahead and call it quits. And you do. You do. You've gone in your direction. That other person's gone in their direction, so you think. But the thing is, you communicate from time to time because you want to be friends with this person, even though you're not involved romantically. You've had previous relationships before where you're friendly with your exes. What's another one? But you got to understand, there are some people in this world who do not understand that concept. They cannot be involved in a relationship with someone and break up with them and be friends. They can't do it. Some people, when they break up with people, they literally write them off in their mind and they just cannot be friends with them. They can't do that. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. I'm just saying that there's different types of attitudes that are out there. So what it is that person will develop a negative mindset. Now, mind you, you've already kind of moved on. I mean, you're starting to see other people and everything else, and your attitude is very casual to this person. You see him when you see him. You communicate when it's necessary, but you don't go out of your way to spend time with them because you don't have to. You've replaced their position in your life. You've replaced them. But deep down, I guess they don't want to accept the fact that you're done. Now, mind you, this is the person who didn't have as much invested in you in the beginning as you did. But what happens is later on they realize once you're out the picture that they care just a little bit more than they let on. Well, it's too late then. You've moved on. So what they'll try to do is just try to be nitpicky about certain things. Going to other people, asking about your personal business. Trying to find out, when and where you're going to be available, just little things, checking you out on the side if they live in the neighborhood or, just happen to be in the grocery store the same time you are. I mean, just little things, randomly calling to see how you're doing, but never ending the conversation on a simple goodbye. They always got to slide in there, well, if you want to get together again. No. You've already decided in your mind you're not going to go back to this person. You got one healthy dose of disappointment. You don't want another one. You got one healthy dose. And that person is perceiving the fact that you gave up on the situation, they're thinking that you're taking revenge out on them because you don't chase them down. You don't deal with that anymore. It has nothing to do with that. It has nothing to do with revenge. You're just done. See, when you exercise revenge against someone, it's coming from a place of hurt. That's if you exercise it. I'm not talking about karma because karma is a totally different animal. That's the universe doing what it's supposed to do. That's universal justice. So I'm not talking about karma. I'm talking about you. If you go out of your way to inflict pain on someone who has inflicted pain on you and you go out of your way to do that, that's revenge. That's negative space. That's negative energy, negative headspace. Reciprocation, however, is positive. Someone does something positive, it's from a giving nature. And, if somebody does something positive for you, you do something positive in return. You have a giving spirit. You want to go ahead and pass on and share the love. It's more healthy and more relationships are maintained if there's a reciprocal energy. But sometimes people get it mixed up if they're coming from a bitter headspace. They'll say, oh, well, I just did so-and-so to you, you did to me, I'm just reciprocating. They're kind of just, they're kind of just taking it out of context a little bit. So, I mean, there's a thin line between both. So if you want to deal with someone who is in your life and who has hurt you, but you've moved on, and you deal with them from time to time, okay, fine. Just don't revisit that hurt. Don't use that as a mean to deal with them. Just don't. If they want to sit there and ruminate as to what happened and why it happened and you're trying to move on, what's going to happen is if you start thinking the same way, you're going to ruin the new thing you got going on. You're going to ruin it because you're going to bring that negative, skeptical energy into the new relationship, and the new person's going to suffer as a result of it. So the best thing for you to do is to make sure that everything's done. And if you can't deal with them on a friendly basis because of unresolved feelings, you need to cut it off completely. But don't sit there and try to use revenge every time you deal with this person. Don't try to use revenge against them, because that revenge is going to turn on you when you're trying to build with somebody new. That's just what I'm saying.